What's up, you guys? Good morning, good evening, whatever applies to you. Hope you are staying safe. And today we are going to talk about the potential benefits of a dopamine detox. Right? Quick disclaimer, quick and short disclaimer that's shorter than Jada Smith's hair. Don't cancel me for this in 15 years. Anyway, we are talking about immediate benefits as well as accumulated benefits under dopamine detox, and the disclaimer is that not every single benefit of today's video is going to be present in every single protocol that you're going to follow, right? The more restricted the protocol is and the more overall restrictions that you are putting yourself through, which I will get into in detail in a minute. The more restrictions, the more overall restrictions that you are going to put yourself through, the more benefits and the more intense benefits you will reap out of this, right? So with that in mind, we are going to talk about 6 immediate benefits and 4 accumulated benefits in today's video. This is going to be rather a shorter video compared to a lot of videos that I've done in the channel, but this is going to be an important one. So sit back and pay attention to the video. So let's discuss this in detail, right? Let's discuss both these topics in detail. So the immediate benefits are the benefits that you would feel when you just finish a said process, right? When you finish any given process, whatever it might be. I'm gonna talk about the planning in a second, but when you planned it out and all that stuff, and when you did the said process, and right after that is where the immediate benefits are happening, and the accumulated benefits are just as they sound. But here's the kicker. You have to do whatever the protocol that you build for yourself frequently enough to really accumulate some benefits, right? I'm going to talk about the accumulated benefits in a second, but for now, keep in mind that you're going to have to do a protocol, whatever the protocol that you are choosing, frequently enough in order to accumulate the benefits, right? In order to read the accumulated benefits. Let's make an analogy here, right? Let's say if you are at level 0, like the level 0 is your baseline when you start the very first dopamine detox ever, right? You have never done it, and you just were smart enough to watch all my videos, and now you created a protocol for yourself, and now you are implementing this, and let's say the level 0 is your baseline, right? And after that process, after the said process is done, you jump up to level 15 from level 0, right? So let's say you jumped up to the level 15 in this process, which let's assume it's a 24-hour process, right? You went from 0 to 15 in 24 hours, right? Then let's say you sustained in the level 15 for another 48 hours, and your benefits started diminishing after that, and in 3 days you are back at the baseline level, which is the level 0, right? So in that specific example, the minimum effective frequency that you can use to dopamine detox is once in every 5 days, right? If you do dopamine detoxing once in every 5 days, you are not at baseline, right? You are not at the ground level. You will accumulate benefits in the long run, accumulate some benefits, not all of them. If you want to maximize the benefits and maximize the accumulation of benefits, the optimal frequency would be once in every 3 days, right? Detox once in every 3 days in that given example, right? So what I suggest you to do to figure out what the frequency for you, because the frequency is highly individualized, it's like a highly individual thing. It depends on a plethora of different factors. So in order for you to figure out what frequency fits you the most, this is going to be a little bit of a trial and error. What I suggest you to do is to do some post detox journaling or post detox logging, in order to understand, where the benefits go and where is the point that you will start that diminishing effect of the benefits, so you can adjust your dopamine detoxing accordingly. So there's going to be minimum amount of trial and error after this video, but there is still going to be some trial and error. And as always, I'm going to go into immediate benefits, and since I don't want to waste your time, I'm going to write these down off the camera. So we are going to talk about immediate benefits, and like I said, I wrote all this down off the camera because I don't want to waste your time, right? So the disclaimer, like I said, all these are not going to be present in every single protocol that you do. I've done several different protocols, and I've got several different levels of several different benefits in this list, right? So that's the disclaimer here, right? You are not going to get every single benefit to a significant level by doing this, but what I did was just piling everything up in the same basket and just throw it in the wall, basically. So here are the benefits, right? There are 6 of them. Elevated physical sensitivity. We are talking about the sensitivity for light, the sensitivity for smell, things like you will see more of colors, so to speak. Like you can distinguish between colors better. That kind of things, right? Sense of taste, even sense of smell, things like that, right? So the second thing is elevated focus, right? This is especially true for an addict, right? So when you are addicted to pornography, this is me speaking from my personal experience, and I know I'm not alone. I know that there are millions of people that can relate to me in this situation, right? So elevated focus. Your mind is all over the place especially when you are an addict, right? So elevated focus means that you have that more so collected mentality, and your mind doesn't run all over the place as much, right? So that's elevated focus. And elevated alertness. So your mind stays relatively in one place, right? It doesn't run all over the place as much. So elevated alertness means that you are more aware of your surroundings, right? When your mind doesn't have as many things going on inside of it, your mind will have more alertness, right? Your mind will be more aware of your surroundings. So that's what elevated alertness means. Mental presence. So you don't think of the past as much, and you are not focused on the future as much either. Again, I talked about this in previous videos as well. It's good to have goals, but having goals does not mean that you should live in the future, right? I'm going to do this, then that, then this, then this. In Sinhalese we call it manopara, right? So you shouldn't be fantasizing about that. You should have goals, but you shouldn't be fantasizing about your life in the future, right? So that's mental presence. You should stay in this moment, and you should do your best to make the best out of this moment, right? So with dopamine detoxing, that becomes easier and easier. And the 5th one is lowered anxiety and depression. This is an anecdote. This is a huge anecdote, right? So lowered anxiety and depression is something I really felt from doing dopamine detoxing, and especially like long protocols, a week-long protocol also. That really hits, that really hits in a different way, on a different dimension, so to speak. And the 6th one is detachment from compulsions. Let's say you have a compulsive use of your phone or your laptop or whatever the case might be, right? So you will find it a little easier for you to just detach yourself or not spend as much time on those things compared to pre-detox period. So that's a really interesting benefit, right? So that's the thing. Like whatever the compulsion might be, you will find it a little bit easier after each process to just detach yourself and bring yourself a little further away from the compulsion that you had. So think of all this like this, right? Think of all this way. Let's say when you purchase an app from Play Store or like whatever else the case might be. When you purchase an app, usually in most cases you get a trial period, right? So in this case, the app that you are purchasing is your recovery and post-recovery lifestyle, right? So when you purchase that app, before that you can have that trial period, right? So the dopamine detox mindset would be that the post detox mindset would be a little taste of what you're gonna experience from your recovery when the recovery is like completed and it's fully done. That's what you're gonna expect and experience from that, right? The post detox feeling, that feel is a little taste of what you're gonna be experiencing. Not the whole thing. You're not gonna feel the whole thing, but you're gonna have a little bit of a taste, and it's an amazing feeling, trust me. We are moving on to the accumulated benefits part, and as you can see, I wrote that down behind the camera, right? I wrote that down off the camera. So anyway, this is so to speak sort of a continuation or an extension of the immediate benefits that you would feel. You might ask me, why would you discuss that separately then? Here's the reason. These are different benefits, right? These are different kinds of benefits that are the results of the immediate benefits accumulating over time. That's not the immediate benefit itself. These are the benefits that you will get as a result of immediate benefits accumulating over time, right? So the first one of the list is elevated confidence, right? This is really a logical thing to feel, right? You are more sensitive physically, you can feel more, and when you are feeling more, you can feel more of everything basically, right? So that includes physical touch too. And you are having elevated focus, so you can focus on whatever the thing that you put your mind to, and you have elevated alertness, and you can see things from a mile away basically, so to speak, metaphorically speaking. Mental presence, lowered anxiety and depression. I mean, when you lower your anxiety and depression, right, it alone will elevate your confidence, let alone everything else, right? And you are not as dependent emotionally on the things that you've had compulsion towards. So all these things in combination, will elevate your confidence. And the second thing is lesser cravings for porn. In this case, we are talking about porn because this channel is based upon the idea of talking about porn. But this can be anything. This can be lesser cravings for any other addiction. So here's the thing: when you do dopamine detoxing and when you give that space for your brain to rewire in such a way to a point where you don't need as much dopamine to thrive on. Your brain is thriving on much lesser dopamine than it used to. And the third thing is finding the true happiness and purpose in life. This is sort of an unexplainable, complex situation, right? So I'm gonna leave you to feel it rather than I explain it, because I think, quite frankly, I think that's the better way to really get a feel of it, right? So moving on to the fourth and final accumulated benefit is being productive AF, right? So here's the thing: when your brain, like I discussed in the second second accumulated benefit, lesser cravings for porn. And in that case, I told you guys that your brain is rewired in such a way that it doesn't need as much dopamine to feel excited, right? Feel like to try. So in that case, you don't need. In this case, you don't need as much of a spike to feel excited about something, right? So when the spike is lesser, the dopamine usage will be lesser to elevate that spike, right? So in that case, your store, your back room, so to speak, will have more dopamine packets. So the lesser excitement that you need, the more dopamine that you will have in the stores, and the more dopamine that you will have in the stores, the more dopamine that you can use to sustain that peak, to sustain that elevation, right? So the more dopamine that you can use to sustain that elevation, the longer will that elevation be sustained, right? So that's why you can find it easier to be more productive when you have done dopamine detoxing, right? I mean, I need to get back. To be quite honest, I need to get back on my dopamine detox train as well, because I rarely do it now. I kind of feel like I'm being too cocky here. So yeah, I will get back to my dopamine detoxing, like regular dopamine detoxing soon. Anyway, so that's the fourth and last accumulated benefit that I'm going to talk about. I believe that I explained it simple enough. Like this is simple stuff, right? This is simple stuff. Even a liberal can understand that, basically. Here's why I'm saying this. The pro porn tendency tends to be a more of a like politically liberal thing rather than political conservative thing, right? So that's why I'm saying this. So yeah, I believe that I explained all this in a simple enough manner, just so even a liberal can understand that, like I said. A quick and unexpected disclaimer here. Our beloved government, 6.9 something million people have voted for these whatever. I'm not going to get demonetized over this, including myself, right? And they have done us the favor of cutting us short of everything, including electricity. So this shot will be significantly trashier than usual. So anyway, with that disclaimer said, and it's just out of the way, I'm gonna have to tell you guys in the dark. I'm gonna have to tell you guys a important thing and important note, right? This process is highly effective, right? This is highly effective, and no shit Sherlock, basically, right? It is effective, and there's no doubt about it. But this does not come without its limitations, right? This does not tackle the emotional attachments, right? I mean, it might sound like a bit of a contradiction, right? Like lesser craving for porn, for instance. It might sound like it contradicts this benefit right here, but what I'm trying to say is that the benefits that you get from dopamine detoxing alone, without any other tool, without utilizing any other tool in the box, will be rather limited and will be reversible, right? You're gonna diminish those benefits given the time. So it's a tool to use in your toolbox, but it's not the only tool that you should be relying on solely, right? So use that, this can be an important tool, and this can be one of the most important tool, if not the most important tool in your recovery journey. And one might even base your recovery journey on this, and top it off with other stuff as well. But you can base your recovery journey on this process, but you're gonna have to use other tools as well, right? So that's where the trial and error thing comes in. It comes in again, because there might be some recovery coaches that will not tell you that, will not give you a tool that might work for you personally. Like, let's say me, for an example, right? I'm me as a recovery coach, and I don't give someone a tool just because that didn't work for me, right? So that person might be extremely responsive for that specific tool. So what I'm doing here is just cutting short of that person's potential, just because that said tool didn't work for me, right? So that's why you should do your own like trial and error thing as well. And like I said again, this process is highly effective. So I do recommend you guys to use this process, and use this process frequently, but do diligence to other processes as well, right? So use other processes, and see what works and what doesn't work for you, and see it from the perspective of the effort, and the effort that you should put in versus the benefits that you reap. Always weigh these things out. So that's what I wanna stress in this case, right? That's what I wanna stress. So don't. What I'm saying is that don't be a Deontay Wilder or a Derek Lewis in your recovery journey. Always have different tools in the toolbox, and utilize them in different times and in different ways to reap the most benefit out of your recovery journey. Because there's not one single tool that you can use in every scenario. One last thing, I sincerely do believe that I saved a lot of trial and error for you, but inevitably I can't do everything for you, right? There's like I emphasized in my previous video, there will be a certain amount of effort that should come from you as a person, right? So I can't do everything for you. There should be your effort as well. So with that being said, I'm gonna end this video right here. It's about rain, and it's about to rain heavily. But anyway, I'm gonna end the video right here. The whole YouTube deal, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. That will help me out tremendously, and I am eternally grateful for all the help that you guys give me. Until next time, I'm High Value Guy, and may the Triple Gem bless you.